Thursday, Parashat Matot. Masei, actually, we're going to be reading this next Shabbat. We're learning from the Mussar of Hok Lisrsel for today. Ragzan lo ala beyado ki im ragzanuto. A hot-tempered person gains nothing except for what? His anger. That's all he gains. Vegorem leotzi mipiv dvarim shelo kahogen. And the hot-tempered person will cause him to say improper things. Things that he didn't really want to say if he was in his proper mindset, but since he gets angry, he says things that are not proper. Af klape mala, even against Hashem, chaz v'shalom. The people sometimes when they get angry, they don't care what they say, and the words that would come out would be again against his own faith. Va'azivat hakaas evi'ato likanes bederech ha'anava. And when a person abandons anger, it would lead him to come to the way, to the path of humility. You should learn from Hillel. There was nobody as Anav, like he was so humble. There was no other person who was Anav as himself, humble as him. Of course, we have Moshe Rabbeinu who was Anav Mikol Adam, but Hillel was very humble and very patient. And because of his humility, his tolerance, his patience, and the way that his approach, he brought 3 people to convert to Judaism in a way that he approached them. You may know some of the stories. One of them was about a person who asked to be taught Torah on one leg. In other words, in a quick way, and he told him, whatever is hated to you, don't do unto others. The person, the goy who wanted to wear the clothing of the Kohen Gadol, and he told him, come, you have to learn first before you can wear such clothing, etc. That was the reason why he wanted to convert, but their stories just illustrate the great patience, tolerance, and humility of Hillel. And a person should not cast excessive fear upon his household. So in other words, the people of his household, his wife, his children, the people of his family should not be with the approach by him to be excessive fear, where he gets them to be so scared of him, because that could bring to very bad consequences. Why? It says here, because maybe his servants will give him something that is not kosher to eat because it's not ready yet, so the proper food is not ready, but because he's here, he's hungry, he may get too upset with them, and they're so fearful of him that they'll give him anything to eat, even though he was not prepared according to the laws of kashrut. Or if I go and buy something quickly, something that is asur, they're so afraid of him because he comes home and lunch is not ready, they might go to McDonald's and buy him a hamburger. He will not know. Says a person that casts excessive fear on his household, he'll eventually come to 3 major sins: to forbidden sexual relations, to desecration of Shabbat, and to bloodshed. How is that possible? And he explains. Teshamesh ishto nidam yirato. His wife may be with him even though she didn't go to the mikveh yet, just out of fear that if she tells him that she was not able to go to mikveh, he will not just be quiet. He'll be very aggressive towards her, and from that fear, she might just lie to him and tell him that she was already there because she's afraid of him. Shfichat damim. Okay. She might even cook something for him on Shabbat. She didn't plug in the hot plate. I know because she cannot do it on Shabbat, but she's so afraid of him that she's going to plug it in just not to get in trouble with him. Or maybe on Shabbat he's used to having the lights turned on in a certain room, and she forgot to leave it on. Well, she's so afraid of him, she'll turn it on and do chilul Shabbat. She'll desecrate Shabbat. And we say it can bring a person even to shfichut damim, which is bloodshed. How is that possible? So it says, "Otivrach ishto echad marav balayla b'hashecha." Maybe his wife or his children, in trying to get away from him, will run away from him because they're afraid from him, and yiplu b'achad ha'ptachim, and they might fall into a pit, and that they would get harmed, and that would be how it could be bloodshed. So in other words, a person in his home should treat people, even those that are very close to him, his wife, his children, his household, in a way that is tolerant, in a way that is respectful, in a way that is humble, and not, of course, he has to sometimes discipline the children, but to do it in a way that is not excessively in a fearful manner, because if they're so afraid of him, they might come to have misjudgments, and it could cause a graver consequence. So this was the Mussar for today. Baruch Adonai le'olam. Amen ve'amen.